Well, welcome to day 3 of the budget hearing. Let's stand for the pledge, please. Chief Sikorsky's here. So Chief, tell us what's, I didn't bring my budget. Significantly different. Yes. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Roll call, please, Janine.
Councilwoman Resonetti. Councilwoman Riley is absent. Councilwoman Friedman is absent. Councilman Burns is absent. Councilman Strawn. Councilman Scanlon
Present.
and President Scringy. That's 4 here, 3 absent, Riley, Friedman, and Burns.
Chief Sikorsky, tell us what's significantly different with your budget, please.
Well, there's not a whole lot. I think one of the big things is it's not real. It looks like an increase, but we got 30,000 from the state for hotspot policing. And that's here someplace. I didn't think it went in the overtime line when I was looking at this. There's a few items that we get not every year during the budget. Sometimes we zero them out. I don't know if we put $3,500 for sanitizing gloves. I don't know if we had that last year. We were getting that free from the state. We needed some gas and stuff for the SWAT team that we don't get every year at $2,500. And the overtime, there was a big the state also gave us 70,000 in overtime for non-fatal shootings. So between those two, that up the overtime, it looks like it up to $1,000, but it's all billed back to the state DCJS. And that's mostly part for the course. Councilman Scanlon didn't like what I was saying, you know. No, I'm good. You'll see there's a number of items zeroed out, but that's stuff that we don't need every year, but some years we do. You guys have any questions? That's fine. I'm in no hurry.
Sorry, everyone. As a sitting member of the Finance Committee, I'm going to officially open pages 49 through 60, 61, 69, 67, and 218.
All this stuff on 49 and 50. Sometimes my page 50 is all stuff that I don't control. Stuff like contracts, nothing or other than the overtime is the last thing that I have on page 50. All this stuff previous to that, it's contractual stuff.
On page 49 is what's included in the police union contract. There is one mistake here. And Chief, you want to help me on this one?
On the second page.
Yes.
It was a mistake and it has there's 3
It's
When
on
the- when
page
this was-
49.
it was on page 49 and I believe seeing if it was corrected.
Okay.
What else? A couple girls in records got like under
Is it the
mistakenly.
one, the administrative assistants?
No,
they're
it
the
wasn't
pro-
them. Their salaries were
the
right. It was
Program
this-
assistant?
the program assistants. 3, it says 45. That's more like 32. But 33. We're gonna check it. When we're going over it, we noticed that whether it was a typo, but program assistant says 3 at 45, 4 88. That's more like 3 at 34, but much better now.
Any other questions
No,
on
I-
page 49?
I can tell you
Chairman,
what
there's,
the
there-
salary-
there's, Chairman, there's an error on page 40. Chairman, there's a page error on page 49. The listing of the position is correct. The position is program assistant.
Okay.
But, the comptroller is checking on the contractually associated proper salary for the line of the program assistant.
I'll tell you this year it was 35,808, so whatever the rate was.
I think it's 3%, but I need to clarify that.
Mistakenly, you got put in 45,000 next year. It's more like 37.
I'll look.
35,808,
It was 35,606 this year.
606.
So whatever.
Go ahead.
Whatever the contractual increase was somehow.
right.
When I got it, that's what it said, and we took that on it.
All right, let's keep moving. We'll come back to that.
Chairman, I made a note of it. If you choose to keep moving, we can do
Yeah.
that.
Let's keep moving, chief. Any questions on page 49? Let's go to 50, please.
If these all contractual also, other than the overtime, I'd spoken when you were stepped out for a minute. There's $70,000 in addition to that overtime line reimbursable from DCGS for non-fatal shootings. There was also 30,000 added to that line, also reimbursable from DCGS for hotspot policing. So if there's a big jump there, that's what it is.
Mr. Chairman. Question, please. Hey, Chief, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So for the proposed budget, Chief, for the overtime, you're saying that there's 70K that's reimbursable in one area and 30K that's
Both
reimbursable
from
in
the
another area?
Both from DCJS.
Yeah. both
Which
from-
has already gone into effect.
Yep.
They're
So I just want to note for the record, with those reimbursable items at the end of close with that budget line at the end of the next fiscal year, the projection is actually only a $4,000 increase on overtime with those reimbursements. Pretty much stayed the same there as well with the reimbursement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Top of 51 is more overtime, just listing the various things it's for. Equipment is just as I said before, there's some stuff we need every year, some we need every other year. So the ones you see zeroed out, we might have got last year, we get every 3 years. Just looking at nothing. Office supplies and general operating is next. And it should, it's what we need. There's nothing. Big increases over on page 53. The hand sanitizer, I don't know if it was there last year. We used to get it free from the state. There was $2,500 for common name tear gas that we don't get every year. There's replacement filters for evidence that we have to hang clothes, blood soaked clothes with for $1,500. That might not have been in there last year because we don't need those every year. We have some spares. Any questions? 54 printing, over the years, it's gone considerably down every year. Just stuff we need. Some years we need stuff, and other years we don't. The police incident reports, IBR, the state provides them now. We check the records to see what they have on hand if we're going to need them next year. Vehicle parts, we left about the same. Our fleet's probably the best it's ever been. So hopefully that's not going to, even though everything's up, I don't think there's going to, that'll be sufficient to cover it. Tires, cars are running all the time. We kept that sort of study. Gasoline was set by Chuck and Lori. I don't know how they figured that out. Lubricants is about, what we go through every year on average. Page 55, ammunition and supplies. You'll see out of there is the Action 5-year contract. So that would have reduced it, but that went someplace else. We're in a process of negotiating a new contract with them. I think last year we were paying $34,000 a year. Lori's and I've had several meetings with them. Actually, I think we're supposed to have one Friday, finalizing the contract with both, putting everything together. They claim it's going to be significantly cheaper with our body cameras, our in-car cameras, and the tasers. If you group them all together, it's a significant decrease in cost. So I left that up to Lori to figure that out. And she does most things.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Question.
Thanks, Chief. On page 55 on the 54117, the ammunition supplies line, just following up on that big decrease there that you noted, which is nice to see. Is that, Chief, is that just?
That was a 34,000.
Yeah,
So that was in that line for the 5-year contract, which is expiring.
got it.
Actually, it's not, we're renegotiating. I think it's not up for a year, but they zeroed it out because it's going to be a new contract,
Yep.
which obviously will come in front of you once we settle it.
Thank you, Chief.
But I think that wherever it is, when it happens, it's someplace, and Chuck and Lori put that money someplace else.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Chief, proceed, please.
Excuse me? I didn't hear you.
He said proceed.
Oh, proceed.
That's right.
K9, that's gone down, in the last few years, we've got free dog food from, I think it's Purina. We got to drive and get it like 3-4 hours away, but they'll give you any amount you want. So that used to be a couple of $3,000-4,000 a year. We put in there for kennel when they're on vacation. Medical expenses. I'm on page 57 now. Uniforms on that is all contractual. Gas and heat is the west side fire station. And when I sat down with Lori and Chuck initially, we went over the past bills. Cell phones remain somewhat steady. As I said, the vehicle repair, that's for outside stuff, including tows. And if we should have an accident, I'll know we're self-insured. If we should, all these cars are brand new. If we have an accident, that $30,000 probably wouldn't be enough, but let's hope that doesn't happen. 58. Equipment repairs and maintenance, you can see that also there, a lot of that's SIU stuff. Travel and training shows an increase, and once again, that's where I guess I got the 30,000 for the DCS hotspotting is here, the 70,000 in the other one. They also gave so much for the our people that work in the crime analysis center. So let's see. And obviously the biggest jump is if we should be able to fill our vacant positions, 27 vests and $900 for the rookies, which is all reimbursable, but it's shown here in the budget. As well as the 27 positions at the police academy. So I think the academy's here, and I think the vests are in the equipment line, which would be they're about the same as the academy cost, about $900 a piece. Everything else is about the same as last year. Subscription and dues, it's all listed there. Different organizations that we belong to. Memberships that the ID unit's got to be in, belong to be certified. Chiefs Association, the whole departments in the Juveniles Association, which gets us discounts on any training we do there. Meals for prisoners, that's people that we house here, and we have a contract with McDonald's. Transfer of officer and prisoners, $400. We just went considerably over that. We had to go to Kentucky and get a guy that was breaking into houses over in the first ward. We just sent 2 officers their airline tickets and pay the guy's his ticket back, also the suspect. I forget what that exactly costs. I haven't got all the bills yet, plus for meals and stuff like that. 61, personal services, that's the meter people, when that's contractual. Temporary services, the part-time parking ticket. Overtime is for the parking people. Say we know there's gonna be a big snowstorm. We'll send them out with warnings, alternate street parking tickets and stuff. If they have to do it on overtime to put, please move your cars. And the uniforms at 1,020 is contractual for those the meter readers also. Page 69 is the auxiliaries, police auxiliary services. Self-explanatory what it's in there. They're worth their weight in gold. Saves us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in overtime every year. And new to my budget is the animal control officer, now falls under the police department, supervised by the traffic division. The big thing is what we pay the animal shelter. And then of course, the animal control officer's salary. The rest of it's just, small amounts as you can see there.
All right, Chief, let's go to page 218, please.
Just ask Chuck, the special law enforcement, that's the SIU fund to buy guns and drugs and pay informants.
Okay.
The equipment repair auction money we get back, they're estimating, I'm not sure why that's showing that we're asking for. Okay. Chuck, in the capital improvements, it's got equipment repair auction, $10,000. I'm not sure about it.
That's just a blanket number that when they sell equipment, we just put that in as a placeholder that if they sell 10,000, they can use 10,000. If they sell 8,000, they sell 8,000. If they sell 14,000, they get 14,000, whatever they sell for.
And that auction's next week, by the way. I believe that's all mine on that page.
We gotta go back to page 49.
Sure.
If you go down 3/4 of the page, there's a title program assistant that works 7 hours.
Yep.
Joe, you want to do it or you want to do it? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, for page 49, under the line of the title Program Assistant.
Yep.
For all 3 of them, I would like to make a motion to change the amount on that line from $45,488.96 to $36,320.16.
Second.
All in favor? Discussion, please. Sure. Councilmember Riley. Yep.
And did you let the record reflect that I am here? Thank you. Did I miss, again, I apologize for
No, sir.
the timeliness, but did I miss something that justified this change?
It was a misprint.
Okay.
So we
Thank
had
you.
last year, their salary was 35 something, the contractual was 3%, so it comes up to
So
that
you
figure.
did explain that before I
Yes,
arrived.
yes.
That's what I needed to know. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
So let's go back to Councilman Scringy made the motion for a change to second by Councilmember Restinetti. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Any questions for chief on pages 49 through 60, 61?
President.
And then,
Councilman
Mr.
Scanlon.
Chairman, I'd like to make a second motion. So due to the contractual salary difference in relation to those, for all three of those positions, I'd like to move the difference $27,506.41 to line A1990.5500, which is the contingency line.
Discussion on that? I need a second first. Second. All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Discussion.
Discussion. Okay.
No.
So questions again for chief 49 through 60, 61, 69, 67, and 218.
Aye. Did we actually vote on that second motion?
Yeah.
We didn't. Yeah, Mr. Chair. We just need a roll call vote, Mr. Chairman.
A roll call on that one? Roll call. Voice vote. Okay, let's do a voice vote.
Yeah, yeah, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? All right. So any questions for chief on his budget? I think we're all set. You got to
You did.
go and make a motion to approve the pages, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move pages 49 through 61, 67, 69, and the police section of page 218.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
We're waiting on Chris Slider, right? Do we have Janine go first? Chuck, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to hunt him down. I don't know where he's at.
Okay, all right.
Chairman, you control the agenda. You can move that around. if
Yeah,
you want.
well, let's switch the agenda, wait for Chris Slider to get here and we'll let Janine talk about the clerk's budget, please. Open page 15, 25, 26, 32, 70, and 221. Janine, you're up.
Page 15 is the city council budget. The only thing that's different there is the 2024 increase for the personal services. I believe that goes up by CPI.
Yep.
Everything else is the same on there. And then page 25. I believe everything is the same other than the salaries increasing either contractually or in the ordinance that we passed earlier this year for the clerk and deputy clerk. And then page 32, the elections are the same price as last year from the Board of Elections. Page 70, vital statistics is now under our office. All of that is also the same. And then on the city fee schedule in page 221, we are removing the outdoor cafe fees, so we will need a motion to do that.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to remove the line outdoor permits on the city fee schedule, page 221.
And I believe the site plan review too, the one right under it as well.
What's the other one?
The outdoor cafe site plan review.
I think we got to each take each of those in turn, but I'll do that as well.
Any discussion? Any second on that motion first, please? To remove the outdoor cafe fees, correct? Can you?
Yep.
The fees, yes. Right. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I'll also make a motion on page 221 in the city fee schedule to remove the outdoor site plan review.
And seconded by Councilwoman Resinetti. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Janine. Chris, welcome back.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to move pages 15, 25, 26, 32, 70, and the city fee schedule on 221.
Second,
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, I think we're ready for Chris now. Chris, welcome back. So when we left off, I had a chance to speak, Councilman Scringe had a chance to speak and Councilwoman Resinetti. So I welcome Councilman Burns and Councilman Strawn and Councilmember Riley to, if they have anything that they want to bring up now, certainly the chance to do it. Councilmember Riley.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh, yeah.
Let's reopen pages.
99.
I'm pretty sure they all got to be reopened because I don't think we moved anything last time.
Okay. So we open page 22, 42, and 43. I'm on the wrong one. Hang on.
68, 99, and 100.
68, 99. That's all the pages, 68, 99, and 100, please. Chris, so Councilmember Riley, have a question for Chris or any comments? Yeah.
you, Chairman Scanlon. Hello again, Chris. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
So again, we asked a lot of questions from my colleagues about your decision and some discussions that were had previously about the restructuring
Mhm.
and reimagining. I like to use that term a lot. So in your best guess,
Mhm.
with this structure, how much, and again, this is a guess because you don't have any data by which to estimate
Mhm.
properly, but how better or how efficiently may processes flow in your department based upon, again, your analysis and the restructuring?
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to quantify it, a percentage? How much?
Yeah, you can
What
give us a percentage because
percent
we-
increase in productivity would we see?
I mean, it's
10
it's anecdotal.
10 to 20%. Okay, let's be, conservative, a 10% increase in productivity. I mean, what I envision with the supervisory position is to have better oversight of individual cases, including supervision in the field, more frequent review of casework, finding errors or frequent oversight, and bringing everybody back into the fold, bringing it back into tightening up the department. I think with consistent supervision, training, inspection of their work, corrections of their work. In the short term, this is what we need. I mean, the worst thing we can do right now is to set ourselves back with poorly trained staff, infrequently reviewed work, allowing bad habits to continue and persist with the 6 people that we have. If we can get everybody back on track and make sure that we are consistent and systematic in our approach to our work, then we'll be well positioned to add more people to that staff. But bringing people in right now when we don't really have a firm grasp on the processes and the procedures that we're dealing with, the changes that are being made, I feel like that would be erroneous for us to attempt that.
So you're really strengthening the infrastructure so you can bring new people in to a
Absolutely.
system that functions.
Absolutely.
Now, when we talked about this before, because, we were some of the loudest.
Mhm.
We really did not support losing code because we believe that adding to the number of officers in the field would benefit the flow and the productivity, which is why I asked your best guess in terms of overall productivity change over time. But we also talked about one's ability to be more proactive.
Mhm.
And so you mentioned that this new supervisor's role would be able to also ride through town and proactively assess things that were not reported necessarily. Is that true?
I think there would even be a more efficient way of approaching it rather than riding through town. I think a ride through town would be a good way to review the work that's being done. But I think it's data analysis and using the data to tell the story of where the focus needs to be that would give us the advantage of saying, this is where we should be looking right now. It's just too time consuming to do it on a property by property basis. It's better to look at overall pictures. It's better to look at heat maps and say, there's a lot of complaints in this area in the last couple months. Let's round up and focus on that. Let's give that a concerted effort. If that improves and something else starts to flare up, let's take a look at that. So it's a little bit of what you're saying, but on a broader sense, a much more holistic approach.
Okay. And also the removal of the inspector would benefit us because a lot of the people seeking the certification already use external,
Yes, a
Okay.
third-party inspection service.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for clarifying
Yeah.
that. That concludes my question.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris, for coming back. When we cut the two inspectors
Mhm.
and took their salaries and gave everybody a raise, I was totally in favor of the raise. And then we at the business meeting we made a motion. I made a motion to put the two positions back in. We then were almost guaranteed by everybody here present that we would put the two positions back in the budget. Then we get the budget and the two positions are not back in.
Right.
But there's a supervisor.
Yep.
And I've heard everything you've said about the supervisor. But it didn't go unnoticed because, I mean, everybody here that's gone door to door campaigning. What we hear about is code, and what the phone calls I get is code.
Yeah.
So it did not go unnoticed to the community that we had cut two inspectors. So I go around town, "Oh, you're cutting code?" Well, no, we're not cutting. We didn't, we cut just temporarily while we give these people a raise. They deserve a raise, but don't worry because these positions are coming back. I was promised it. I think it was a promise. So now I got to go to the same people and say, well, didn't happen. Okay, so it's kind of embarrassing to all of us here that we're telling people they were coming back. So I believe you. I believe the mayor. I believe everybody that this supervisor is going to help the efficiency of everything of the department. But will this supervisor be able to go in the field? Or is this supervisor strictly staying in the office?
No, he has to be in the field. That's a component of the position that just can't be done right now.
I see.
You know, we are in the middle of reorganization and it's clunky and it feels a little bit, awkward and it
Mhm.
doesn't become very transparent to everybody initially,
Right.
that it's going to end up in making it a better, city for everybody.
Right.
But that's where we're going. And so when it was asked the other night, is this the last change you're going to make? Is this finally going to fix code enforcement? The answer is no.
Right.
No, we need to tighten up what we have right now. We need to increase consistency in the staff that we have. Then we need to bring in the additional inspectors. There's no doubt in my mind that we're going to have to increase the staff both on the building side and on the code enforcement side at some point.
Okay.
But to bring them in prematurely and have us bumping into each other or sending people out into the field where they're going to be spinning their wheels without getting any traction isn't where we want to be right now. I really want to lay the groundwork for a more productive unit, a more closely supervised unit. So when we add to it, we're firing on all cylinders.
Okay, so we're still looking to add to it as the people that are
Yeah.
there are trained properly.
Yeah.
And getting it moving.
I think it's constantly evolving, Councilman Burns. I think that we're absolutely in favor of growing the department. I know that the need or the request for increased code enforcement becomes more apparent every year. The voices get louder and we're not shying away from that. We're just saying if
Okay.
we're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's guarantee success.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I really, I guess I just want to echo everything that my colleague, Councilman Burns just said. A few months ago, there was a lot of discussion, about the positions and the changes.
Mhm.
And that's really due to feedback that we get from constituents. This is, again, like, the number one thing that come up. But in all of that, you as the expert and the head of this department, we have tremendous faith in you and the decisions that you make and the requests that you come to us with. And so I just wanted to say thank you for coming back, for giving us a little more information, clarifying your position, and why you're going this direction. And I also wanted to say that I do hope that this is a kind of a continued sort of a rolling discussion about the future needs.
It
department-
has to be, it has to be continued.
because-
This can't be,
Right.
the end, or else we're selling ourselves short.
Because we would be doing our community and constituents a
Right.
complete and total disservice.
Right.
To not really be on top of this particular issue, but I do want to thank you for coming back and I do value your community. So thank you.
I know that the constituents, come to you with problems about code enforcement. So I know where you're coming from. And I hope that you trust that, with the amount of time that I spend in the office, that I have my fingers on the pulse of what's happening in the office, and that you would rely on my insight to make decisions that are going to move the office in the right direction, that's going to help the department, benefit the city overall. And I know it's, not an immediate answer to your constituents that is going to satisfy them, today, but I would encourage you to express to them that this is an evolution, that this is an attempt to satisfy their needs. And like I said, it might not happen as quickly as they had envisioned, but it doesn't mean that their needs and their concerns are being ignored. We're moving as rapidly as we can in the direction of helping them and giving them everything that they're entitled to.
Other questions for Chris?
No, I understand. I think it makes perfect sense. And, I think the bottom line is that I think we're moving in a good direction. And if things need to change, feel free to come back to us and tell us what you
Absolutely.
need.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then we will obviously receive that very well.
Great. Thank you.
Other questions for Chris? Okay, Councilman Scringy, please.
Oh.
Want to go first? You have a question?
Oh, the sun.
The sun's in his eyes. Yeah, okay.
I've been trying to slide this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Chris, thank you for coming back down today, this evening. I know there's been a lot of work that's gone into this.
What we're here for.
No, and I appreciate that, and I've had, whether it's code inspectors that are assigned to our respective districts, or, Chris himself, I do want to get a couple of things on the record. I even can tell in the background, right? Just from a logistical point of view, right? So I'm a little short of 8 years on this body. So I kind of have a unique lens here, right? I remember when we used to do code sweeps, right? Believe it or not, that was actually how I first met Jonathan Westgate, before he was even the vacant property officer,
Mhm.
when he was the code inspector for the first district and the ward in particular, right? And things have adapted and moved on, and we have great code inspectors now. We have great supervisors and a department head. And I want to get some things on the record, kind of as an extension. I'm not the type of person that likes to speak for my colleagues, but I think in this rare instance, I think I safely can say that I think in the most bipartisan way possible, we all want more code inspectors, period, right? As it's relevant to the changing dynamic and the changing environment. I want you to know that, the budget here that as it's been submitted, with proposed restructuring to deal with that changing dynamic that you've spoken, Chris, very, very eloquently and specifically about, which I think we all appreciate. So to get that on the record is the one thing, and it doesn't mean that it's a nay on this as it is presented. And I know you know that, and we're probably going to have these discussions maybe sometime by the end of the year, next year, whatever it might be. I'm not going to put you on the spot, Chris, as it relates to like a function of time, because that would be disrespectful to you. But I was wondering, even in a broad way, as this dynamic in this environment changes, say over the next maybe couple of months, could you kind of maybe just speak to how this proposed budget lays the groundwork for this kind of continued conversation and changes that are needed due to the changing environment as kind of you see it, right? I'm really lucky, there's been times where I'll email some of our code inspectors or I'll contact them and they'll get something in the system. I've spoken to Chris. How many times have we spoken just by email? I think 2 or 3 times just this week, right?
Right.
And Chris has been within less than 24 hours, bam, gets in the system, gets coordinated, it gets put through. A great code inspector gets out there, they work through that. So that process is there, it's beginning, it's changing. So we want to say thank you for that. We also want to let our constituents know that we recognize the importance and still are advocating for those additional code inspectors unanimously, bipartisanly, when appropriate. I was just wondering, Chris, if just in the broadest sense possible, could you kind of explain, maybe just to the best of your ability, just how you kind of see that changing dynamic over, say, the next couple of months, how you kind of see that potentially playing out? I know it can't be with
Look,
100%
right,
accuracy.
this is the 2024 budget.
Yeah.
This isn't the
Yeah.
plan for all perpetuity.
Yeah.
This is what I would love to have is these positions approved, the
Yep.
second building inspector and the
Right.
code supervisor. I would like to put that into motion immediately in January and start getting everything
Right.
tightened up and functioning at its best capacity possible. And I would love to be back here mid-budget with an RL to request additional funding for additional positions. On the fast track. I would love it if I didn't have to wait till the 2025 budget hearings to add positions. And I'm not afraid of coming back, mid-budget season and trying to make changes. So I don't feel bound to only bringing this up at 1-year intervals. If I could make it happen sooner, I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen sooner. But I won't do it before we have the confidence that we need to have to bring those people in. I really don't want to, waste time and be premature in rolling out new inspectors and have them function at half or 60% capacity. I would like it to like I said, function well and be very productive right from the get-go. So I'm not going to be too conservative in saying that we'll make a little change every year. I would like it to happen sooner than that. I think, that doesn't have to be only during budget season where we can make improvements. And if everybody's, on board with that, then we can work together to make it happen sooner.
I appreciate that, Chris. I appreciate your honesty with that. And that's good to hear that, that's on the horizon, and that we can work together with that. I know it's going to sound a little corny. I don't do this very often, but I do want to give a shout out to our code inspectors who are on the ground every day. The things that they deal with are just phenomenal, all the way up to your supervisors and including you, Chris, right? Obviously,
Thank you. And I will pass that on to them because they don't get
No.
thanks enough. We get a
No.
lot of criticism and not much praise. So
No.
I'll be sure to tell everybody that's, the message I heard tonight.
But thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I really appreciate that, Chris.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments for Chris?
If there's nothing else, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to move pages 68, 99, and 100.
Kent,
Seconded by Councilman Riley. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, everyone.
Lori's not scheduled. No, we're scheduled.
When the assessor was here the other night, some people asked for some exemption impact reports. So she put together some cities that you could find on the internet rather quickly. She didn't pick or choose, you know, she just went through and looked up different cities if they had it. She wrote it down here and as you can see, we're not the worst. Right.
Yeah, Chuck, I appreciate you putting this together. It puts us in perspective where we are.
Actually, I didn't do it. This was done by Terry. Actually, I dropped it. This was done by the assessor, Terry Busby, today, during our conversation. She went through and put it together real quick.
Okay.
I know we were scheduled to do Lori today. I can do my.
We're
budget
not
if you
scheduled,
want.
Lori, no.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. I'm trying to help you later on.
We could have, right? All right, so day 4 of the budget hearing is next Wednesday at 5 o'clock. I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting unless somebody's got anything else.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a quick, Chuck, is there a particular reason why Utica is not on this list? Oh, they must not have it out. Yeah, that's a good point. Got it. Yeah. I'm not knocking it. This is very in-depth. It was only a question of curiosity, nothing more. Would it be possible, Chuck, if we could maybe at some point when they do get published, if we could get Utica and Troy? Because believe it or not, you stole the words right out of my mouth. Troy was actually the second city I was going to ask about. But please tell her, thank you. This is great information.
Anything else?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned.